While episode number 48 was uploading yesterday, I went ahead and I made the second little depth charge cage. And it went really well. And we are now done. Page 8. We have done everything here. However, the next page, I don't think we're quite ready for it. Well, the next page wants us to place stuff on the deck. And the deck's not ready. I don't want to be trying to paint the deck after stuff is stuck down on it. And there's going to be a lot of stuff. I'll bet you that yesterday when people were watching it and it was getting close to the end of the video and the music was starting to play, people were saying, "Hey, what about the hull? You were going to talk about the hull." Well, here's the plan for the hull. What I want to do is I want to mask all the way along about halfway up there. You can sort of see a very faint little line there. On this particular ship, I imagine that's where you're supposed to paint the water line. But I may as well use that as a guideline and see if I can just mask along the green there. And then try and do the black line that the Bismarck's supposed to have. That should work. Now I'm being extra careful not to get fingerprints on this. It's going to make it a little bit awkward here. This is Tamiya masking tape. Never used it before. And we'll just see how it's going to go. And like I say, I'm just using these little lines here as a guide. Well, I don't think I need to worry about it pulling the paint off. It doesn't even want to stick. Oh yeah, there we go. A couple of things here. First of all, wearing those cotton gloves and working with masking tape, well, that was a big mistake. I kind of wondered if the lint was going to come off and, get stuck in the masking tape. Well, it kind of did. Little hairs along the edges. The second thing is, I think I'm getting paranoid over getting fingerprints on this hull. Maybe if I just washed my hands real good and got all the grease off my fingers, before I started handling it, well, that might be just as good too. I think I'm going over the line here. Okay, so I want to remember now, I don't need to, press this down real hard because I am spraying, and I'll spray upside down like this so that if there is anything running, it will run this way, not into the tape. So all I have to do is just, I think I went a little bit too high right here. I'm having a problem here with that. Now I realize there's only so much of this taping you're going to want to watch, but I eventually got it. On the Bismarck, I have to put a black band all the way around, but on this it doesn't have to be black, and I got lots of white, so white will show up a lot better against that dark green anyway, so hence the white. I was experiencing a bit of a pleasant surprise there, and that was this. Where I was pointing it, that's where it was painting. I thought I'd have a lot of trouble, with overspray, and that's why I was holding that piece of paper there to protect the hull. But I realized after a while I didn't have to do that. The paint just went where I was pointing it. Maybe a few little particles ended up on that green hull, but I don't think very many. We'll check it out later. Well, I think I would best describe this as becoming a horrendous mess. All my boxes of sprues are along the far side of the table there and in behind the monitor, and yeah, this is a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and it's completely covered with stuff. I was going to say junk, but you know, it's stuff. And I'm finding that when I do my spraying in the booth there, it's kind of awkward because I can't really get into it. So I'm thinking that what I should be doing here is maybe having it more in front of me. I guess maybe swing it around and I could roll over and be more in front of it. When it comes to painting the Bismarck hull, you know, I'm going to need lots of room. You know, it's the Bismarck hull is about twice as long as that spray booth is wide. But that's a couple of days down the road yet. Anyway, I think what I better do today, if nothing else, as well as doing the experiment with this stuff. And by the way, this is just the way it was. You know, I didn't set it up. This is just the way it was. So I have a tendency to not put things away after I've used them, and I should maybe be more mindful of that. Anyway, yeah, I got to clean this up here. I really don't know what to say. It's somebody came over yesterday and they took a look in here and said something to the effect of, "Oh my goodness." And well, yeah, this is the living room. But you know, I'm by myself and nobody comes over anymore, so, well, almost nobody comes over anymore. There was somebody here yesterday, but yeah. I realize you can't tell, but it's a lot better than it was. I still want to get some brackets fastened to the uprights on this model table and then put shelves across, then I can get the sprue boxes and maybe some other stuff up off the table. And that way I can sort of swing the hull of the Bismarck around and won't need to worry about knocking anything off the table or damaging the hull. Maybe I'll get the monitor suspended too from the rack above, and that'll help. Anyway, okay, I was wondering right here, did I maybe have white overspray? But I'm realizing that I don't think that's white overspray. I think that might be where I didn't get very much green. Yeah, I think that probably when I was spraying the green on, I wasn't going at enough of an angle there. Well, this is, you know, just the test one anyway. Well, I guess I got that paint from my masking tape on my gloves here. Well, I think what I'll do now is I'll mask a thin line, you know, going the other way, and let's see, how would be the best way to do that? I guess the idea with the best way would be to just have moved that existing masking tape up, you know, a quarter of an inch or whatever. Well, in this case, not that much. Well, that'll be for another episode. There's something else I want to do yet today. I would think now that probably any moisture that is in those samples will have evaporated out. And I would think that the fingerprint and the mold release are probably stuck on there almost as well as they can get. I do realize that over time it will adhere itself better to the glass. Anyway, we've got this little piece here. What I've done is I've CA glued the corner together, and here we have a little piece of a fence. I don't know if you can see that. And it's CA glued onto a piece of plastic. I might have put the CA glue on a little bit on the heavy side. Here we have two pieces of plastic glued together with the extra thin cement. And my plan is to just see how well will this stand up now in a solution of that soap that we were looking at. It can be diluted down to 10:1 according to the instructions. So that's what I've done. I've diluted it down, and I'm going to heat it up in the microwave oven, make it really hot, probably bring it up to about boiling. And then we'll just see what happens to this stuff when it gets immersed in that. Is the, are we going to get rid of our fingerprint? Yeah, I'm not going to rub it. Okay, a few seconds ago this was boiling. Now my plan is to just wash all these little parts here in this boiling water. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let them soak in there for about 10 minutes, I guess. Occasionally just, making sure that I change the water on the surface by going up and down. I do realize that this is going to cool down, but we'll see what happens. Is the glue going to still stay solidified and only the mold release and the fingerprint get washed off that glass slide? Or are the pieces going to come apart? Or is this hot soapy solution going to maybe have an adverse effect on the surface of the plastic? Well, that should all be answered within about half an hour, so we'll just turn the camera off now and we'll leave it for about 10 minutes and see what happens. And here we have clear hot water just to do a little bit of rinsing. Well, at least I got myself cleaned up. I'm sure that dark brown stuff is not, off of the pieces. Okay, the side I'm putting down is the side we did not apply anything to. Well, it appears like the glue held. Now let's get rid of this stuff here. Then we'll have a close look. Well, the fingerprint is basically gone. See if I can hold this steady here a little bit. It's basically gone. I can just see a slight bit of residue there from the fingerprint. The CA glue it didn't seem to have any effect on. And it appears that it had very little, if any, effect on the mold release. So, in a sense, this experiment failed, because what I had hoped for is that detergent would wash off any mold release. And this was young mold release. So I guess I'm just going to have to hope for the best. Yeah, so what was this all about? Well, it was my thinking that I could take these little small parts, and if I was to, wash them like I just did in this solution, it would wash off any mold release. But obviously it's, it gave me something to do anyway. Kept me out of the beer parlor. I realize that it looks like I'm sort of flitting from one thing to the other here. Well, I think it's probably because, I get to a stage and I don't know what to do, and I move on to something else and think about the last one, and yeah, I guess it is sort of flitting from one thing to the other. So anyway, as I mentioned, we're now on page 9 here, and they want us to do the deck. Excuse me, but the deck, it has to be painted, because I don't want to be sticking all these parts down on it. Now, if you look at the deck, well, back to this painting here, or this paint scheme, you can see that almost all of the deck that you look down on is this tan color. In other words, it's to simulate the planking. And here you can see the planking. It's quite clear. Now, it had been my hope that I could use this Panaline accent color to bring out the, the grooves that simulate the planking. Yeah, that was the plan. And now I don't know what to do here. I guess places like this where the anchor chain goes on, that does not get painted, or if it does, it has to be repainted something else. But it does appear as though almost all of the upper deck gets painted that tan color. Yeah, from one end to the other. I won't be putting the decals on, so we'll just leave that natural. We'll pretend it's the way it just came out of the shipyard. Yeah. Anyway, I'll zoom in a little bit closer here and you'll be able to see the actual, individual planks. They actually detailed it fairly nicely. Now, it had been my hope that I could airbrush this thing, and I know that there's going to be a lot of little places that are going to be covered over that have to be repainted. However, they're going to have to be repainted anyway, or painted at least. And I found from when I did the Lusitania and the Titanic, yes, I did paint the deck with a little brush, but it kind of looked like it was brushed on. I was hoping that airbrushing it would go on a lot more even, or maybe not. Anyway, yeah. So this is where it stands as of today. And in the meantime, I guess thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. And anybody, oh, by the way, anybody have any good ideas? Already I've received some pretty good ideas. One guy was talking about using India ink and isopropyl alcohol mixture, and yeah, and then Tony gave me some suggestions yesterday, and but anybody have any suggestions, feel free to, from your own experience, that is, feel free to let me know. Okay, see you tomorrow.